I rise in strong opposition to this resolution and efforts to roll back important protections for not only our environment, but for American taxpayers. Our nation's public lands belong to all Americans, and they are managed to balance many competing uses: recreation, responsible economic development, sustainable resource extraction, yes, renewable energy, and military purposes and conservation of historic American landscapes, just to name a few. As such, they should be subject to strong national standards that protect our shared water, shared land, and wildlife, and the multiple uses they support. It is also critical to remember that use of our public lands is a privilege, not a right, and companies seeking to exercise that privilege, whether they be fossil fuel companies or clean energy companies developing wind, solar, and geothermal projects, should be held to a very high standard to preserve and protect resources that belong to all of the American people. We must also make sure that the taxpayers get a fair return for use and development of our commonly shared resources. The Mineral Leasing Act, as written by Congress, calls upon the Secretary of Interior to prevent the waste of oil and gas resources on public lands. The Bureau of Land Management's Methane Waste Rule achieves shared goals. The rule prevents the waste of resources that belong to all American people, which by law it is required to do. It reduces the amount of greenhouse gas pollution coming off our public lands, and it increases royalty payments to federal taxpayers and the states. The Methane Waste Rule also supports job creation and American innovation in new technologies. The methane mitigation industry is a growing and emerging field that uses modern technologies to identify and capture wasteful emissions. In fact, a 2014 report commissioned by the Environmental Defense Fund found that methane mitigation companies provide jobs in 46 states, support 102 manufacturing and assembly locations, with 59% of all companies across the industry being small businesses. If Republicans had brought this resolution before the House Natural Resources Committee, we could have more thoroughly examined its negative impacts on job creation. Instead, it was rushed to the House floor with only this 1 hour of debate. I urge my colleagues to oppose this resolution, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman from Massachusetts yields back the balance of her time. Gentleman from